I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and it is time for some truly high-level Carcassonne as the third international qualifying tournament for the 2026 Carcassonne Champions League is about to reach its conclusion. This third international qualification tournament featured 16 players, all who made it here because of their achievement earlier in the year. This particular qualification cycle is meant for winners of international competitions, so you can see all the players that were participating as well as their reason for participation. Now only a few players remain in contention, and today we're going to find out one of the lucky, or rather the skillful, or maybe the skillful and lucky players who are going to win this entire tournament. So we are focusing on Mateusz Pozlewicz with the screen name mtuu, who is here because he won the turn-based King of Carcassonne Cup in 2025, the largest turn-based Carcassonne tournament, or correspondence Carcassonne tournament, if you will. And Zvonimir Vlaic from Croatia with the screen name Bluste, who came second in the 2025 Mindsports Olympiad Grand Prix, which is the largest real-time tournament. So real-time versus turn-based, both of course very strong masters. I'm going to talk about the players a little bit more, but for now let's just have a look at how they did here before. This is a double elimination system. Neither of these players have suffered a loss. Bluste won against Ernie of Hong Kong, against Big Nacho of Argentina, against Smile Hyphen of Ukraine, so defeating two masters in a row, and now they're facing their toughest challenge yet, mtuu, who has been in great shape, defeating Dinidad of Thailand, then Kithara of Japan, one of the strongest players online there is, then his fellow teammate Prix, and now they're here. Yeah, so Mateusz is really in good shape. As you can see, their rating is currently now 827, one of the very few players in the world to have ever crossed the 850 rating threshold, meeting the 860 mark recently, winning like 50 arena games in a row. After that, suffered a few losses, 3,500 games of experience, a wealth of tournaments experience as part of Team Poland. Bluste, the first ever Croatian master, has trained a generation of players. His best result is 6th place in the World In-Person Championship in 2024, and probably his best career performance is the 2nd place at the Mindsports Olympiad Grand Prix earlier this year. So also should be in good shape. A lot of games, really, like 5,000 games of experience in just a couple of years. Currently rated 6,012, so I would say that mtuu should be the favorite, not only by rating, but also by just having more consistent tournament result. Bluste, however, I'm going to say like a solid 45% chance to win today. And let's see how it goes. As usual, it is a best of 3. And it is the Croatian master who will be the starting player now. Already scored 4 points for this here city. mtuu, however, with the first monastery, a green meeple placed over here. I'm not really used to these here color choices. Normally I'm used to Bluste being green. Alright, so a city being started by yellow. Green immediately picks up this long road, and look at this, yellow being actually quite aggressive here. So in this situation, it's very often that players choose not to follow the principle of 2 cities, as one of the cities is a bit threatened, but this early in the game it shouldn't be such a big deal. Mateusz doesn't even bother doing anything about this city, starts a new one next to his monastery, developing, scoring some points. Zvonimir is probably going to start a new monastery either here or here. Yeah, he chooses this square with the most points, also controlling these here key squares. Yellow, in the meantime, finishes a city. Interestingly, not this one. I'm actually a bit surprised about this choice. Well, I'm not too surprised, I guess, because it's now threatened this here road. Shouldn't really be such a big concern for mtuu. I think he's even okay with one of his meeples getting blocked. Generally, he's quite nonchalant about getting his meeples blocked as long as he gathers compensation. Loves imbalances, loves fieldless wins, things like this. But here, they don't really have a lot of compensation for the blocked meeple. So I wonder if they're going to save it towards a 50-50. Like, they could go here, drop a farmer or something, and then just hope for the last monastery. They're going to be the slight underdog because they weren't the starting player. Bluste is going to draw one more tile compared to mtu, so Bluste is going to be the slight favorite to draw any key tile, in fact. An alternative is that we go here, we just start a new city, and we protect this square indirectly. That could also work just fine. We could even ignore the threat, and we can go here and start a farmer or a new city, and then try to go for a counter block. Let's say our opponent gets something here, blocks this here square, but then we get something here, and we block this here square instead. Knowing the style of the pole, I suspect something in this here area, but very curious to see how this progresses. Kind of a stylistic choice here. Well, not stylistic necessarily. One of these moves appears to just be correct, but it's one of those moments where it's difficult to prove which of these moves is correct. Yeah, told you. I've just watched so many games of MTU, like, I know. And this move does make a lot of sense. But I do think it's mildly imprecise. I would have preferred the same idea, but in this here area instead. So there is no dagger asymmetry because there's one right-handed dagger, one left-handed dagger in the deck. But had green made this move over here, then there are kind of additional blocking opportunities available. So for example, now what yellow can do, yellow can get himself a Dorito tile and sort of bail himself out. But if we were to place this green farmer over here, then this Dorito bailout no longer works because a straight line can be placed over here for a block in this here area. So I think I like this idea, just a tiny imprecision by the pole. In the meantime, a city cap is drawn, and finally MTU is on the board. There's also a monastery cluster available for Bluste. Bluste equalizes the road. MTU doubles down on this here farm, and he will need all these farming points in order to come back from the deficit, which will be provided by these here yellow monasteries. And the city point is very nice. This green guy is ahead on the scoreboard, and yellow now drops a farmer, which I find very questionable at the moment. I think yellow, in many lines, suffers a lot. So placing the last meeple here is not necessarily such a bad idea because there's this here tile and this here tile and I guess this here tile that gives a meeple back. But if I'm yellow, I don't really want to put anything into this square, because with only 2 monasteries remaining, my opponent can get a straight line and severely delay the recovery of my meeples. I really don't like this move by Zvonimir. What I would have done instead as yellow, I would have gone over here and tried to pressure this square, because this square is of strategic significance. If we can manage to do something like this and restrict this towards a T-shaped crossroads, then suddenly the size of this field will be severely reduced. There will be half the board that is available for yellow in the future. But now, kind of, if a curve goes here, then yellow's meeple is going to get eaten up by these here 2 green farmers. Yeah, and we already see the first issue with this, that Bluste didn't have meeples. And this leads to Bluste just losing points. MTU grabs 4 points over here. Again, was totally preventable. Now, of course, he goes for this, tries to block the square, but MTU can now safely finish this here monastery and eat up this farmer. So when you place a farmer like this, I guess the idea is that you're gonna fight for the main field, but like how you're gonna do it with the meeple minority is just not how you play these positions. When you have the monasteries, you cash in the monasteries first, and then you see if you can fight for the field or not, because very often, if you try to go for both the monasteries and the farming, then you kind of lose because you don't get enough of either. But let's see how the Polish master chooses to approach this. I'm a bit curious if they have any other ideas, and of course they don't. They might have, but they chose the simpler option. Finally, Bluste gets a meeple back. Still 13 points down on the scoreboard. MTU has a meeple extra. He could even triple down on the fields, which he exactly does. And I guess it's okay for Bluste, who now also gets to score a little bit. Yeah, these 4 points are kind of nice. And still, some chances. Now, this here situation is very, very annoying. MTU with the enhanced Ukrainian technique, trying to play with this meeple against his opponent's monasteries, and he can actually double down on this. He can now go here and basically say, if you want to get a meeple back from any of these guys, you have to finish my city. But it's also possible to just go here first. I think it's completely fine. Just take points, and then later just take points, and then later we do something else about this here square. Maybe we get a city plus road tile and we block it completely. Oh ho ho! Bluste actually with a pretty decent tile. There is only one legal placement for this tile, and this is over here. And this is really not that bad for the Croatian, because it will allow the recovery of a meeple, in all likelihood. Yeah. There's still one Dorito, 2 splitters that fit into this square. Maybe we can block this here square, in which case this 8-point meeple is kind of blocked together with this 8-9-point city, something like this. Now Bluste has a chance to do some extravagant things. Could go for quick points somewhere, but I like something more ambitious. Well, not... yeah, whatever. I wouldn't call this ambitious. Just chooses to get a meeple back, restrict the square a little bit. MTU is going to cover up this here square and still have chances to complete this city. Zvonimir is going to go upstairs, take 2 points, disrupt the city a little bit, and then maybe even invade that city a little bit later. Still playable position, of course, for yellow, but green, the advantage on the scoreboard and an overall advantage as well. Alright, hi Self-Evident, hi Agatha, hi Glavier, hi Tommaso. Hopefully your cold gets better soon. Zvonimir now with a meeple advantage can try and do something nasty. A strategic decision here, he just needs to decide whether he goes for the field now or whether he does something else first. He could go here, for example, take 2 points, restrict this here city. He could go here for 0 points and just delay the recovery of this here green meeple a little bit. And if you want to go for the field straight away, then you can go here, drop a farmer, then go here, drop a farmer, try to get multiple field meeples in. Empty is making a move which is not empty. The idea behind this move is to get a splitter, in which case this city will suddenly become completable, like a Dorito can go here, another splitter can go here. Yeah, this is sneaky, sneaky. Mateusz gets a meeple back and 4 points extra. Zvonimir is trying to block the city square at the top. And a city cap for Zvonimir is not going to allow him too many options. And he chooses to go for the farm and try to live like this. Yes, it makes a lot of sense, actually. Mateusz, however, can just re-attack, can go here on the farm right now. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's just going to go here, take the meeple back, consolidate, and then just try to use some different farming platforms. Bluste could equalize the farm by going over here. And actually, in theory, Bluste could even win this farm by going over here. Well, and then he would need to go here or here as well. Yeah, it's a very long time to just get all the farms in order. But the options are there. The options are there. Hi, Nicola. Yeah, Mateusz makes the natural move, gets the 8 points on the scoreboard, and meeple back, figuring out that there will be an opportunity now to drop a 4th farmer somewhere. Zvonimir now needs to do something radical. He chooses to go for the farm. That makes a lot of sense. MT is now going to continue his city, probably. But I doubt if the move that was just played was actually the best for Bluste. I think a couple of key ideas were missed. If I were Zvonimir, I would have preferred a move over here, trying to invade the city, and then later recovering my meeple over here, because there were still many tiles that fit into this square. And it's just a valuable city. It's already like 14 points or something. Around that time. Alrighty, so equality on the scoreboard, 2 monasteries recovered, not without pain. Empty with a scoring tile. But again, several opportunities here. I don't think he's going to even score. I don't think he's going to... Yes, exactly. He's going to go here, drop a farmer, and even cover up his city. What a beautiful multi-purpose move. There is still one more tile that fits here, which means that if Bluste gets a Dorito tile, Bluste cannot afford to go over here, because this would allow the chance of this here big city to be completed. Even if this big city does not get completed, the city will not will be invaded. No, sorry, the city cannot be invaded. That's already a big issue for the Croatian here. Yeah, what do we even do? Well, we don't go here, because there's kind of no point in trying to invade, since our opponent's going to invade. We could go here, start blocking this here square a little bit, but the move which I like the most, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 straight lines remaining, is probably going here and dropping a farmer like this and trying to invade through this here area and just really double and triple down on the field. There are some other options. There are maybe some fieldless wins which can be explored. Maybe if we keep this 9-point farm separate, we allow our opponent the bigger farm somehow. We create a counter field here on the left for 6. All this would have been enough had we used this tile to invade the farmer over here. But now, none of that is possible. Sorry, did I say invade the farmer? I meant invade the city. Invade the city. Yeah. Like, we should have gotten ourselves an equalization there. Now, probably Bluste, in order to win this game, needs to just overrun the field with a majority, and he's a long way from doing so. Drops a rather vulnerable farmer now. I think it's a miss again, because this farmer is blockable. Like with a starting tile, for example, 3 points can go over here. I can see where he's coming from, because the idea of Bluste is maybe to get a road monastery in this here area. That would mean quite a lot. It would also expand the fields. It would also actually allow some scoring options where maybe if Bluste gets a straight line, they don't go here, but they go here instead and they score 3 points like this, and they truly wait for the road monastery, and they might even drop another farmer over here and then get a regular monastery to connect. But all of these high-scoring plans increasingly rely on a large number of key tiles, and in Carcassonne, if you're behind, you don't want to set up multiple key tiles, because the probability of getting all of them is low. You want typically to focus on one key tile and just try to maximize the impact from that key tile. Self-Evident is saying the purpose of this here move is not allowing mtu to re-attack using this here city tile. Yeah, it's actually a good point. I was thinking about this, that if we were to go with my suggestion and drop a farmer over here, then green could go over here. But actually, given our position, I think it was better for yellow to do this and just simply hope that yellow gets the farming tile first before green. Because then, if yellow were to have gone here, if green gets some sort of road tile, green can do nothing. And then yellow can drop a farmer in this here area and use this key square to connect two farmers at once. Because the thing with farming at this stage of the game, yeah, and we can see that mtuu drops some sort of an insurance farmer, so this is 6 points. It's an insurance against the monastery. It is, however, by no means an insurance against a straight road. Bluste can now go here, isolate the 6-point farmer, and have some chances that way. But then, of course, yellow would still need to drop one more farmer somewhere else to get himself a majority. Bluste is now trying to block. mtuu can now easily defend if he so chooses, but he might not even bother with doing so. So option 1 is we go here and we just try to create the 50-50 chance of completing the city. Option 2, we go here, we take the 2 points and we block the opportunity to invade the field with a road like this. And we also create a 9-point monastery hole. I'm not sure how I feel about this, actually. Maybe I wouldn't bother with this. There's also the option to ignore everything and just score 2 points. I don't think this is all the rage. Yeah, this seems to be a little bit too slow. I am a bit surprised about that move. I guess mtuu figures out he does not need to complete the city in order to win. And I agree with that sentiment completely. But one thing that makes the city nice to have is because it helps freeze this monastery, right? Because Bluste cannot put a Dorito here safely without risking the city being completed. And that's why I think just dropping this crossroads here would have been super, super nice. Unless I'm miscounting the tiles, but I'm not. There was still a starting tile available. On the other hand, MT did score 2 points, also forced a sacrifice from Bluste because he used the scoring tile for blocking purposes. But now, yellow still has some clear ideas for victory. Now, yellow can go here, get an extra meeple, and then use this here farming platform on the right, or some sort of a ninja platform like here, or some sort of miraculous connection with the road monastery elsewhere to get the majority on the field. And with this ruin and with the extras, Bluste doesn't have quite enough. mtuu wouldn't have quite enough to win this game fieldless. In any case, scoring tile for Zvonimir. Probably there's enough time to pick up these here 4 points. They give us some alternative win conditions as well as these secondary fields on the left actually are worth quite a lot. In the meantime, MT has partially blocked this square, forcing a road monastery there. Straight line for Zvonimir. We gotta double up, right? We gotta go here and just hope to equalize the field, I presume. These fields on the left are still smaller than the big field, and if we don't go here, our opponent's going to get the road monastery. Well, or even if they don't get the road monastery, they can get something like this. They can eat up our meeple here, close to the end of the game. But also Zvonimir can change his strategy. He can actually go here for 3 points and try to isolate the fields on the left. Try to have 18 points for himself and try to eat up this here meeple. He chooses to make the natural move. And this means that now a road monastery will be equalizing for yellow, or a city cap will be equalizing, and yellow will then have to drop just one more farmer to gain the advantage. MT, of course, will have the advantage even after the field equality because of his 2 extra points on the scoreboard, because of this ruin outscoring the monastery and the 6 points extra. So Zvonimir will have to drop another farmer. I don't really see alternative win conditions for him. Alrighty, so what is Mateusz gonna do here? Is it time to start dropping some insurance farmers? I don't think so. I think we wait a little bit. I think we start by some prophylactic moves. Maybe a move like this, reducing the chance of Bluste using this farming platform. This move also very good, serves the same purpose basically. Zvonimir now will connect the fields. He's gonna go here. It's also a question whether he goes for 2 points or whether he chooses to take the 8 points for the monastery. Because if you take the 8 points for the monastery, it's still not enough, right? You still will have to drop a farmer somewhere. So you might as well take the 2 points and just hope that you can have more meeples and more shots at the farm. On the other hand, if we do place the monastery here for 8 points, then we still have one tile that goes into this square, the starting tile for a meeple recovery. And then maybe there are some chances how we can win without the fields, because we'll be slightly ahead on the scoreboard. Not really, though. I really think that we need the farm here. So probably, if we go here, I think we take the 2 points because the extra 6 points just don't do that much for our win probability. It appears that all the game is about the field. The field is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 24 points. And in these here areas, green just does not have enough variance to overcome the points. And I think 2 road points is what we're going to see. I would quite easily understand an alternative move, but I think that this is where we got to go a little bit counterintuitive. And Zvonimir takes the 2 points, resists the temptation of taking an 8-point monastery, despite it being very, very strong in some other situations. This is a great tile, however, for mtuu, where he can take out one of the farming platforms and drop a farmer himself. I believe that the move we're going to see is going to over here with a green farmer, trying to invade here, trying to circumvent and invade here. Actually, no, this wouldn't work, right? Or maybe it would. Maybe it would. Yeah, let me think about this. It's actually not obvious. It's actually not obvious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there are no crossroads. It will be a 50-50 invasion. Yes, he does not do it. But it does take out a farming platform, though. Oh, isn't that interesting? It does take out a farming platform because now you can't put anything here and drop a farmer because there's already a farmer here. But Zvonimir can still go here if he so chooses and drop a farmer like this. Note that you cannot use the platform on the right because there are no straight lines remaining and no monasteries remaining. So if you drop a farmer here for 0 points, it's going to stay just that, at 0 points. In order to use that platform, you're going to need something like a road Dorito, which is still in existence, or a starting tile. Then you can use one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 remaining curves to connect. But if I'm Zvonimir, I have 2 meeples, I have 2 shots at this. Why don't we drop a farmer over here and try to go for the 50-50 shot of getting the starting tile and connecting to the field like this, because there are not that many blocking opportunities against this here square. Bluste chooses an alternative. He goes for 6 points, which I don't think does much for his win condition. Empty is going to simply take out the farming opportunity again. Actually, no, he's going to go here, I think, take out this opportunity. And Zvonimir has switched gears. He's just trying to build the city to completion, which honestly could work. There are a couple of Dorito tiles, a splitter and everything. Hey. We could do this. Oh, never mind. There was no road Dorito remaining, right? But there's a regular Dorito. And there's a splitter tile to go here. I think that could work. But then, if you don't go the field approach, if you try to go for the scoring approach, then it would have made sense to just meeple this 8-point monastery then. So maybe being a bit inconsistent with his plans. And look at this Bluste that would have connected. Like, it would have been totally worth it. And I knew there were so many road tiles remaining. So this farm right here was relatively safe. The Croatian must be kicking himself a little bit. And yeah, he tries to complete, but now a curve is going to go here. If mtu draws a curve, instead he gets a Dorito now, leaving Bluste with only one tile that fit into the square. He will, of course, complete this city with a lot of pleasure if he gets himself the splitter tile. Well, this is interesting. Mateusz can't really do nothing much about any of that. Can't also drop farmers anywhere, not that he has to. He just builds a city. Well, isn't that interesting? Because he figures that he just simply won't have too many opportunities to score. Zvonimir, I think, has himself some chances. If I'm Zvonimir, I'm probably going here and meepling this. And then if my opponent gets a curve and goes here and tries to block that square, then I hope to get the last Dorito. And if I can't place it over here, at the very least, I can go here and just get the meeple back. Did I say the last Dorito? I meant the last splitter, but it's the same thing. Again, so let me just think about this again. This city is 12, if I'm not mistaken. And these cancel each other out. 15. So 7 points is mtu ahead. But Bluste is setting up a field connection instead, which also works quite well. MT is going to go here, block the square, but if Bluste gets this here tile, he can go here and now connect. I still think... Well, yeah, but you see, that's the thing. Like, Bluste could have taken these 3 points. He could have then recovered the meeple, and with his last tile, he could have scored himself to victory. But now, he's going to try and go for the 50-50, right? Go for the last remaining curve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's still a curve remaining. If Bluste goes here, it will be a very classic 50-50 connection. I don't think there's anything else we can do. Right? Yellow is -7. And we're going to see ourselves a field invasion. So a similar idea actually. I quite like it. Just setting up a high prob field invasion platform and getting the tile to do that. And we see the invasion, and will he get the curve? And he will get the curve! He will swindle this game away from Mateusz by setting up this invasion and winning the field. Made the Croatian fans sweat by a lot, but did the job in the end. Yeah, so this is a very interesting idea with this here city, recognizing that there are multiple Dorito tiles left to complete this. I still think going over here for the farmer was better. In fact, this farmer was actually unblockable, and Bluste would have won that way as well. So, would have been a bit of a cleaner win, but hey, a win is a win is a win is a win. The field invasion has been completed. Classic 50-50, and it also illustrates the power of threats, right? Because Bluste was threatening to just go here and finish the city, or to go here and drop a farmer with this here tile. And from Green's perspective, it's not possible to stop both of the threats, so you have to stop the most potent one. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Development here. The Croatian master is ahead. For the pole and uphill climb. A reminder to you all that, as usual, it is a best of 3. So, the Croatian could end everything right now, right here, within the next 15 minutes or so. But mtuu is the starting player with a meeple on the road and a city cap. Bluste with a 2-pointer at the top. MT now getting himself in a bit of a dicey situation, meepling a 1-point road. The purpose of this meeple, of course, is to prevent yellow from using a road meeple productively. This is a quite common opening tactic where you try to just prevent your opponent from using certain pieces which are on the board. Now, this here square is restricted. However, it actually benefits more yellow than it benefits green, because I was going to say I can see a move like this being played where this here meeple gets dragged into this city, and as a result, green has 2 meeples blocked and yellow has only 1 meeple blocked. This is not going to happen, as green manages to cover up twice. And this is starting very, very well for Mateusz, as there's still plenty of tile to go here. Nothing much that Bluste. No, not now. No. Come on. I think this is a classic example of impatience. Yes, your opponent is threatening to finish a medium city, but the threat is not big enough that it would be game losing on the spot. It would just give mtu an advantage, and you really don't want to use tiles suboptimally just to deal with one threat. Like, because you just now destroy your entire position, right? So you're going to have a meeple blocked here, or at least precariously placed, also missing this move, which I think would have been a better placement for the monastery. mtu doesn't even bother blocking, which I profoundly disagree with. Bluste can now go here. Bluste now should go here, defend his city. Yeah, but the idea is, what yellow should have done in this position, just play calmly. It's like, finish a city on the right, start your new city, then, if you can, get a tile to attack this here city. And now, this situation looks really, really good for Mateusz. He is now dropping a second farmer, capitalizing on his meeple majority, as Zvonimir chooses to meeple this road, which is not worth it if you ask me. But he gets a meeple back from this here area. He threatens the block of the monastery of this here city. Does not drop a farmer just yet. Figures that there will be a later time to do this. Easy defense for green here. Actually, I'm not sure if it's so easy. Ooh, which move is correct? Do we go here and bend the city inwards? Which I like a lot the more I think about this. Yes, I think we do this. Or do we go here and bend the city outwards and allow an invasion? Actually, I think it's a rather easy decision. We're going to see the city bent inwards. Yes, this is exactly what happens. And the idea now, it's actually impossible to block neither the city nor the monastery. In the meantime, Zvonimir, however, gets valuable points and meeples back. mtu with a super majority on the field. Bluste with a lead on meeples and the scoreboard. We're heading towards an imbalance where the advantage will go to green, because green is the starting player, so he's going to have himself better endgames, and that field looks just too good. Zvonimir is going to need to draw multiple monasteries to give himself a fighting chance. Or maybe to start dropping multiple meeples into the field. To the point that dropping a third farmer is not crazy even if you're mtu, but I would wait just a little bit. I would force my opponents to invest at least one of those yellow guys into the fight. And now maybe a move like this, starting a 4-point road, pressuring this yellow guy, looks natural to me. Let's see what the poll decides. So Zvonimir gets himself an invasion tile into the city. It's not a blocking tile, it's just an invasion tile, but it's overall a situation which is good for Mateusz, because you know what? And yeah, we see the most efficient move being played here, of course. Now 3 points. Ooh, oh, 2 points. This is better. This is better. Basically, pre-blocking the city, also poking at this here yellow city a little bit. But basically, this here configuration, yes, exactly. Like, I don't even need to explain. This all was calculated. Like, I guarantee you, when bending this tile inwards, Green was thinking about the scenario, and this scenario is actually quite likely. Look how beautiful it is. Finishing the monastery, dropping a meeple here, and still having 3 tiles that fit into the square. Just beautiful, beautiful play here by the Pole. Honestly, just flawless so far in this game. Bluste figures it's time to fight for the farm. He might find himself in a similar situation as last game where the field is his win condition, so it doesn't matter that mtu has the lead right now. He will just simply drop farmers and more farmers and more farmers. And I can definitely see yellow winning this in theory. This would of course require the triple city tile here to either not be drawn or to be drawn quite late, so that yellow could get full benefits from his temporary meeple advantage. MT is going to block the city cap, which is interesting. I can understand that, actually. Zvonimir is going to finish a 6-point city, get himself a meeple back. Green with not the best tiles in the last couple of moves, but I take that back, as not only a horse is being drawn, it's also the best horse, sorry, the best cow, which has a shield on it. 18 points for the city, a meeple back, 14 points extra on the scoreboard. Zvonimir are just going to need to quadruple down on the farm. MT is not going to let him do that. Yeah, of course, you have to sacrifice a point here. You have to not allow the city to be completed. But this allows the creation of a monastery square, so Bluste could win without overrunning the field. He could just equalize the field and then just score something nice with the monasteries. But this here move from Green is very nasty, trying to create blocking opportunities against this here square. And it could work, actually. Yep. Oh, this is so devastating. 2 meeples trapped permanently. There's nothing that fits here. And now without meeples, I just don't know how you win this, honestly. Well, I think I do. So the Croatian still has chances. The way you do this, you have to make geometrical swindles. Basically, you need to... Now you actually need to get a farmer in. Not just these 2 guys to equalize. Like a third farmer somewhere, maybe here at the top. Invade, and then try to protect the field from invasions. The field is 18. Ooh, but the monastery coin flip is very, very rough, as MT is able to get the 9 points from it. Zvonimir is probably going to get some quick points below. And now we are in the territory that MT could even think about fieldless wins. But he does not want to go for fieldless wins. A stylistic decision here. Yeah, getting the third farmer in does make actually a lot of sense. It says a very likely farmer to complete the invasion, and now it will force Zvonimir to drop 2 more farmers, which he will do. I think he's going to go here now, invade, also build the green city a little bit bigger so that it does not get completed anytime soon. And then maybe yellow can do one of two things. Either we just play with one meeple for half the game, and then we try to sneak in an extra farmer at the very, very end, which could work, or we somehow try and block this square by building around this. Empty now gets himself a tile that continues his city, and I feel that at some point there's just going to be too many threats. 3 points at the bottom is what we expect from the Croatian. I think a mild imprecision. 3 points nonetheless. Actually, it's not necessarily an imprecision. No, this may be even better, because now this allows us ideas like this where we get these points. But we can't do that because you see another threats. This is the problem. Threats. We can't go here and try to build up a big ruin and take advantage of these here squares, because we have to stop the city from being completed. Just too many fires is what yellow needs to put out, and yellow still needs to connect over here. Empty could still get a Dorito and try and block this here square. The 0-point farmer together with this here city. Now that would be a guaranteed win. Empty now has the majority on the field. Bluste gets the connection. Empty with a straight line. Cannot do nothing much. Maybe just protect his road a little bit, as he chose some calculated aggression here for 6 points. Eventually he's going to get a curve or a crossroads perhaps. 20 points ahead as MTU. So if yellow gets the majority on the field, which he now doesn't have, yellow is going to be ahead 1 point. And then green has scoring opportunities in other areas. Yeah, I think it's very close to a 0% chance to win. And with... Oh, actually, maybe. How about we make a natural move going over here? Yep, and we set up a scoring opportunity with a couple of monasteries here. And then if we score the 9 points and then we invade the field, then we can win. And also, it's not a very difficult find because just 2 points are 2 points are 2 points. That's something. Empty is now going to maybe go here and protect his road from another angle. Or maybe go here and try to break field connections opportunities, because I can certainly see somebody going here, dropping a ninja farmer, connecting all the way through the outside. Interesting way to protect the road. I guess it sort of kind of works. Well, if we're Bluste, I think we go for the restriction of the road anyway. First of all, we need to recognize that we can't place anything over here because we need to keep the square empty, because we need to have ourselves the monastery for this here square. If we go here now, we don't allow our opponent to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 remaining curves. 2 remaining curves, actually. And we force them to draw one of the 2 remaining crossroads. If we draw both crossroads, then we get 6 points. We block our opponent's meeple, and this is what we need to hope for. We climb to -14 on the scoreboard, and now we're just within reach. I think this is where we go for the partial restriction, because you're taking away 2 high-impact tiles from your opponent. This is what we're eventually going to see. I guess what Zvonimir is thinking, he's thinking whether it's possible to come up with a different restriction with a later tile. I don't think it is. He's also thinking whether it's okay to start a new city somewhere. I don't think it is. He's also thinking whether we can shape the board to our liking with this tile, maybe create a different field connection platform. I don't think we need to do that. There is still a perfectly viable field connection platform at the bottom for now. And the idea, yes, he goes for the restriction. Not an easy decision, but I like this decision. And one of the crossroads has been drawn, so we can score 3 points. Preferably here. Maybe not here, because we need to keep this opportunity, we need to keep it open. Because we might need to have to drop a farmer here. Yeah, very lovely choice by the Croatian here. Okay, minus 17. Empty with a crossroads, but it's a different type of crossroads. We'll score, yep, exactly 3 points like this. It's worth to sacrifice 1 point to keep the board a little bit more closed. Does not go for 4 points. Bluste now with some interesting options as well. So option 1, we try and score a little bit, and we just drop the tile here, try to get a city cap for 6 points, or the road for 5. I don't think it's worth it because we're kind of gunning for these monasteries anyway. So probably what we should do is make a move like this, trying to restrict this here square. And the reason we need to restrict this here square is to protect this here square. And the reason we need to protect this here square, because eventually we're going to have a monastery over here, and we want to have this square as safe as possible. And we want so we want that nothing get put here. So these are the moves that I see. Normally, when I'm behind by a lot, I like making moves like these. But then the chances that we're going to get both the city cap and the 5-point road and the monasteries is a little bit low. Yep, lovely move. The Croatian seems to be very strong, like when it comes to be coming from behind, and I've seen this a lot. Like they know when to switch to desperate mode, and maybe it's in equal positions where they could brush up a little bit. Because I felt like yellow could have gotten a little bit more out of the opening, just panicked a little bit too hard because of that city. Oh, this is a lovely move here from both opponents. Though MT is now trying to set up the threats for completing his city at the top. Bluste is now trying to continue his city and also gets an, I was going to say, an off chance to connect to these squares, but this is actually not possible. Yeah, there's just not enough tiles in the deck to do that. So maybe going over here at the top would have been just fine. Anyway, the coin flip for the monastery has been won by the Polish player. And probably as Bluste, this is where we throw in the towel. No, probably we just have to drop a farmer somewhere. We have to hope for the road monastery for 2 reasons. We have to hope that our opponent does not get a meeple back. And I think if we do something like, I don't know, here, a farmer here, yeah, that could work, I guess. Maybe a farmer here. But you see, regardless of where we drop a farmer right now, our opponent could block it with the crossroads, which is not great. Really, really not great. I guess we still have to do it. The field is 21. 15 seconds on the clock. And he goes for the far. No, he does not. He wants to do it a little bit later. And he might be correct about this. Let's see. And can we drop a farmer? Anyway, yes, we can. But it's probably not going to work, is it? It's probably not going to work. Where can we drop a farmer? I guess the best option is to go here. To drop a farmer like this. But then this invasion will be blockable from here. He does go for this anyway. MTU gets the road monastery, so no invasion for you. Yes, a 9-point monastery move for green. The score will be obscene, but it will be nice to figure out how much the score would have been if Bluste were to have drawn the connection tile. The 1 in 6 connection opportunity, because of course, if green were to have drawn this, green would have gone over here to not allow Road Monastery to be placed here. But there's one more tile in the deck. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is. Oh yeah, regular monastery. Nice move from Bluste, blocking a scoring opportunity like this. Saying GG a little bit preemptively. 5-point move is going to come down here. And let me think about this now. So if MTU gets a monastery here, then MTU gets this here tile. So 20 more points is what Bluste would have had with the best possible run out of the tiles, with the 1 in 6 chance that this meeple makes it into the field. And I think we will see soon enough that this would have been nowhere near sufficient. Just because these monastery setups are too powerful at the top, they score too much. Plus 46 is the score, plus 26 is what the score would have been with the best possible tile run out from the Croatian. And Mateusz is coming back in this one. Alrighty, we expect the decider to start any minutes, and yeah, no break. We go right into this. So everything is going to be decided in the next 10 minutes or so. Zvonimir is the starting player with the yellow meeples. Now going to place a meeple on this here Dorito to make a 6-point city perhaps. Both players honestly wishing each other to have fun, which means that they're not wishing each other good luck. MTU with the standard response to limit the possible development options for the city. Bluste is now probably going to invade the road, but it is an unpleasant invasion to make, because if you're gonna go here, then you sort of can sometimes get blocked 2 against 1. Still was worth doing it for various reasons. So one of the reasons why you actually want to invade this road is because if you draw something like a rose or some sort of a crossroad tile, you get to go here and start a new city, and you don't have to expose an empty piece of road. Because let's say if you get a... Well, anyway, it will end up not mattering. Empty, starting a new city at the top, trying to poke at the square a little bit. Not a concern, but if I'm Bluste, I'm happy going here. Well, no, I don't think I'm happy at all. I don't think I'm happy doing this, because then MT can go here and now try to create a big city. But then on the other hand, if that happens, we go here and we try and block multiple meeples of green. This is interesting. I don't know the theory in this position simply because I just don't play this position myself. Yeah, that works. When I say I don't play this position myself, it's because I just don't make this move with the curve. And this is an interesting move for Bluste. So he's allowing this here city threat. And I think the principal response for MTU is actually to go and take it. But then, if Bluste goes here and here, then MTU loses 3 meeples and loses the game on the spot. Oh, this is very, very interesting. Another alternative is to just go here, but then this seems to be underwhelming. A third alternative is to ignore everything and just to go here and start yet another city. But then if we do that, then Zvonimir just gets a city cap, covers up, finishes the city for like 14, leaves us stranded with a 3-point road. So, of course, I want to see the content move. But I'm really stumped as to which of the move is actually correct. Which of the move gives us the best winning probability? So if I'm green, I'm burning all my time here. And I'm also trying to think how exactly to think about these positions. How exactly to think about these positions. I think I'm going for it. I think I am going for it just because nothing in Carcassonne is guaranteed. Yes, you risk losing 3 meeples, but no matter what your opponent places, you're still going to have a good chance for defense. Well, there are counter-arguments against this. For example, if you go here, sometimes you get to fill the square, but you don't win the big city because your opponents can take these 4 points with tempo, create some sort of a blocking attack here. It's interesting. Also a move which is worth considering is actually this move. Yeah, he doesn't go for the big move. I can totally understand this. I totally get this. This move is probably what I would have played at the top, like if I'm really trying to win this game, with the idea that I want to play this a little bit more small ball. Zvonimir now gets to continue his city. And Empty now has a chance to create a big city for himself, and he does that. Now 2 Doritos away from winning a like 20-point monstrosity. Bluste now connects over here. And mtuu now gonna reconnect over here, and we have ourselves a big city fight. If we have a Brazilian field fight, then what would be a big city fight? What's opposite of Brazil? Australia? No, it's also in the southern hemisphere. Japan, maybe. But the Japanese players don't like city fights. Well, you let me know. And really, city fights are generally quite rare in top-level Carcassonne, but sometimes you just get the tile that you have to go for it. There's still 7 big tiles remaining, most notably including the quadruple city tile. And if we don't go here, I mean, our opponent goes here, and we cannot possibly allow that. And it's his showdown time. Bluste now probably has a chance to invade this here city on the left. But now we're going to see, does he want to have a balanced game and go here and equalize everything and still be a little bit ahead by having a slightly better road than his opponent? Or does he want to gamble hard and simply take 2 points at the top and try to set up blocking platforms? To me, it seems that going the balanced approach is a little bit better for a couple of reasons. First of all, any blocking platform that you're going to set at the top is not good enough with the quadruple city tile still in the game. And this is why Zvonimir goes here. And second, with you being the starting player, you actually want yourself a balanced position because you're still going to preserve that slight advantage very, very far into the game. Yeah, what does Empty do here? I think at this point we just start a new city somewhere and we ignore all of this here. Maybe what we can do, we can hope for some big tiles. And if I'm green, I need to plan this out. So if I'm getting a big tile, I'm filling in this square first to consolidate all my 3 meeples. Then I'm going here. And then, of course, I try to either block the square or, even better, get myself a splitter, win a 3 versus 2 majority. If I'm yellow, on the other hand, the critical square which I need to fill is this, just to not allow the splitter, just to equalize everything. And then I probably don't place a triple city anywhere. I might place it here to get a couple of extra points. But before I do so, I might want to do something about this here square. Ideally, if I'm yellow, I want to play small ball. Maybe I want to block or restrict this. Try to get a triple city. And then do something in this area. So that's an interesting move here from mtuu. That's a variance-reducing move, I guess. And it's trying to force yellow into a quicker decision, as in, do we go here right now? This move right now would indeed score 5 points in the short term by adding 3 points to the city of yellow and denying the 2 points to this here guy because yellow would have a 2 versus 1 majority in this here area. But this does create the scenario where green gets a triple city and yellow might have trouble connecting here. On the other hand, if we don't do nothing about this, if we maybe even go now here and block the square, which is super tempting, at the moment we have the majority in points. We have 7 points over here, whereas green has only 6. But with so many big tiles, if this square gets blocked, I can certainly see how green gets a triple or quadruple city here, same over here, and then have a 3 versus 1 meeple majority in this here area, and then develop this here ruin big time. So that's why Zvonimir does not want to block the square, even though for the moment this here point majority is a majority. He's thinking long term. And he figures that the chance of a splitter plus triple city sequence is actually quite low, and eventually most of the time we connect over here. But mtu now that he sees these here squares being filled, I was gonna say he's gonna smell blood and go over here. What's the urgency in continuing this here 4 points? So this is the first move where I have a disagreement with the poll, and on a quite a profound level. I really don't see the urgency in finishing this at all. I think as green, we should have gone over here. We should have exerted more pressure here. Bluste now has an advantage, finishes himself a road. MT now connects over here, and Bluste will be able to finish the shared city, but still, like, it would have been so much better. It would have been so much better with a move like this. MT could have gone over here, tried to create some bigger threats. Now the position is just better for the Croatian. 7 meeples in hand, 2 extra points on the scoreboard. The road of MT does give him 2 extra points overall, because -2 + 4 is 2, but this square is a little bit vulnerable. This square will be a little bit vulnerable once this road is scored, and the tile that green just drew is not the best. So a slight advantage for yellow overall, completely playable position, but I would pick here yellow any day of the week. Hi Shimon, hi LR. Hi T Bertrand. Yes, I agree. After a field-oriented game, it's fun to see a big city fight. The only sad thing about it is that it is over. And look at the move by the poll. One of the most aggressive scorers amongst the top Carcassonne players chooses to discard a tile, which actually does make some sense. But maybe with 6 meeples, it appears to be a little bit too shy. Bluste also being a little bit too shy. I think it was okay to try and pick that up like right now, because this square is not easily blockable at all. Goes instead for a city here. Bluste restricts the road. mtu with the first farmer of the game, and now I presume he's going to go here. Again, this city is not easily blockable. Like, the worst tile that can be drawn is a Dorito, but there are not many of those available. The most likely, like, there's also a deadly combo. We go here, we meeple the city, we get a monastery, we cover up toward the starting tile, we get a starting tile, score 8 points over here, 7 points for the monastery. Like, we even drop a little 6-point farmer somewhere in this here area. I think this is the way to go. But it could be tempting for green to just build a new city here, which I think is the second best move. Maybe this was actually the plan of green. Maybe this is an idea to build the city indirectly safer. If you know that your opponent is going to play a bit more conservatively, if you think that they're not going to claim this tile, then you can know that more likely than not, you can claim it for yourself. Maybe this was the plan of Mateusz. We're going to see right now if he chooses to go for these 8 points or not. An alternative also to everything that I just said was to start a new city here. Yeah, and I love that move. And look at this. Bluste is forced to harm his own city by getting this here tile. MTU now with a splitter tile cannot continue this, but he can very lovelily, if this is an adverb, well, now it is. Go over here, continue his field, take out a monastery spot, and also meeple this here new city cap with the intention of finishing the city and dropping a second farmer at the top. This is the move. This is another alternative, but I don't like it. I have... Oh, this is also an interesting alternative. Just go for the second farmer straight away. I think it's a little bit too much. Yes, exactly that move. Very nice precision, very nice aggression. Bluste with a perfect farmer off his own. Beautiful move here, trying to anticipate the completion of the city, not allowing green to get this here farming platform, and also now genuinely threatening this here square. Empty can now do some interesting things. Now, this square is a little bit threatened, and he can defend it either by going over here for a direct defense, which I think is actually the way to go, or he can go here for an indirect defense. Now, the beauty of this here direct defense is that your opponent will have only one blocking tile, the one and only remaining vanilla city cap like this. Everything else is going to restrict the city. And there's also a deadly combo, a regular monastery available to fit into this square. And it would be very, very nice to cover up this here area before we go for that monastery. An alternative is to just take 3 points and not do nothing. This is also not that bad, because this here move is not that dangerous. And Mateusz goes for the triple double. I'm not sure how you call this. Triple value, jackpot. He wants to have not only the monastery, not only the starting tile, not only the 6-point farmer, but also the 5-point road which goes in this here area. Bluste cannot do nothing much except for maybe continue his city. Or maybe... I think going here was a little bit sneakier, but whatevs. Empty gets the 3 points over here, generously provided for him by Bluste. Now ahead on the scoreboard, Bluste now is going to continue his city probably, but he could also go here. I think we take the 3 points. We try to threaten this here road. Also, if only yellow, I was trying to say that yellow could actually have gone over here. This was the 200 IQ move so that he could prepare the Dorito, now take the 6-point road. I think a miss here for the Croatian, but he is ahead on the scoreboard. Nonetheless, MTU is going to finish the city. He's going to take the 2 extra points. He's going to leave the coin flip for this here area. He might not even do this, knowing him. He might do something crazy like going over here, dropping a farmer, leaving another city up for grabs. I think this would be a bit too volatile. If we just finish this here city and take the 2-point road, then we're doing just fine. But he might also be interested in not taking the 2-point road, but going for the farmer instead, sacrificing 2 points and trying to invade through a road monastery like this. No sacrifices will be made this time. He will deny a monastery to Bluste, who could have used it over here for some insurance. Instead, a 4-point move at the top with not a monastery, but a farm, which is quite interesting. Empty takes the 4 points with the last vanilla city cap in the deck, now threatening this here square a little bit. Bluste still has an extra meeple. Can do something, probably. Maybe here? Starting a new city and trying to pressure this road a little bit. This is the move that I see. This is what's natural to me. Could go here, develop his little field over here. I think it's a bit too early for this. These 2 green meeples are nicely a bit uncomfortable together with each other. We can let them stay that way. Could also go here. That's actually very nice. Starting a new city in the shared field and then looking forward to towards dropping a farmer here and invading the main field like this. Maybe another farmer here, invading again, and then bringing in this guy all the way. So he goes for the first option. Empty finishes the city, starts a new one now, trying to threaten the completion of the city and dropping a farmer, but Bluste will capitalize on his threat first, finishing the city, dropping a farmer, coming closer in on the scoreboard, -10 on the scoreboard. Empty now can drop a farmer off his own if he so chooses. I think we absolutely go for that. Or we can pick off the city cap and threaten the completion of yet another city with a farmer, making sure that the Croatian cannot parry both threats. But the lower variance approach is chosen. The road monastery has been drawn. Bluste is almost equal on the scoreboard. Now these farms are officially shared. Empty now gets the city cap, drops a farmer, now is ahead on the scoreboard, has an extra farmer overall. This here farmer is isolated. This is definitely a problem for the Croatian. However, a good tile for him, a shielded tile, can certainly add it to his city like this, or like this, and try to turn this into a threat in the future. We gotta be patient here. We gotta realize that there's nothing much that we can do about the field fight just yet. Empty connects to the fields in due course. This is probably what we're gonna see. It's actually a very, very good tile for them. Now has a 2 versus 1 majority, which will soon turn into a 2 versus 3 majority. Empty drops yet another farmer. Bluste now suffering without meeples. However, he has himself a very creative idea. How about, okay, that's nice, trying to threaten the completion of the city with a farmer. But you know what else he had? He could have gone over here, dropping a farmer like this, blocking this platform, and then hoping for a curve to bring not 1, not 2, but 3 of yellow farmers into the field through this here area. Of course, super risky, but maybe could have been worth it nonetheless, and it would have worked. It would have worked. Well, he brings in the 2 farmers, but now Empty is gonna score a 5-point road and bring him yet another farmer, and still he's gonna have the majority. Bluste is now suffering. He will need to bring in this farmer here eventually. He now can score some points over here, of course. This meeple here is awaiting recovery. No vanilla city caps, no splitters. Except for this guy. A very difficult position here for yellow. I think maybe this here move, as risky as it was, would have been some nice inspiration. And yellow has switched gears. Yellow's now going to try and create a threat to complete this here big city. We're going to see a breakage soon enough. Either like this, or maybe like this instead. Trying to break this here guy. Taking advantage of the fact that there are no regular city caps remaining. If we go over here, we're threatening to get a Dorito tile and go over here and block this square towards a non-existent vanilla city cap. Plus 12 points for mtuu anyway. All he needs to do is just to prevent his opponent from getting a field majority. It will be very difficult for Bluste to win if he just equalizes the field. It looks like he's going to need to win the field. Or maybe finish this here big city. Green goes for a city breakage. Bluste can still try and build this up, or he can actually go for an even more gambling move. Maybe here, trying to threaten the completion of the city and dropping a farmer, but he's now gonna get his meeple blocked very easily. Empty is not even gonna bother here. He's not gonna go for 5 points. Instead, he's gonna go over here and block this square towards a non-existent vanilla city cap with 2 minutes on the clock and 4,000 Carcassonne games worth of experience. It is a pedestrian find for a player of this caliber. And with that, yeah, yellow is toast. I just don't Like, what is yellow's gonna do? Like, what is yellow gonna do? Something like this, it actually makes sense. It's is an attempt to block some key squares, to maybe try and block this here green farmer, who technically has not yet invaded, but a very easy move here for green again, going like this, indirectly protecting the square, and most importantly, setting up an opportunity to invade through that here area. Bluste now still has a chance to go here perhaps, and now try to bring this here farmer into the field. And this is probably his best option at the moment. Empty, now look at this. Empty is not going to even bother going here, although he might. He's probably going to go here and try to block this here farmer from invading, and then he's going to simply try and get another road tile a little bit later. This is the technique that I expect from the Pole in this instance. Going over here seems just not as valuable at the moment. And a block is exactly what we see. However, this meeple, believe it or not, can still make it into the field. It's just an elaborate pattern of crossroads and two curves, and we make it all the way through the outside. Zvonimir has a monastery which cannot be put into good use. Maybe going over here, actually, setting up some invasion opportunities through this square. I do quite like this idea, and this is exactly what we see. Dorito tile for empty. Just to be extra clear, he can go here and make sure that all the cities are truly and fully blocked, because there's nothing that fit into this square. I would probably do that. He could even go here and block his own road simply to not allow Bluste another invasion platform. But perhaps I might not even bother with that. One minute and 50 seconds on the Polish Masters clock. I need to catch my breath a little bit. Just to add another suggestion of a candidate move, maybe we could go here and block an invasion opportunity from the bottom right, which also looks like a legit invasion opportunity. This here move, it is a pre-block, so the idea is that somebody's going to score some points for this here area, and this will create a 6-point field, and this just makes harder. It makes it harder for somebody to drop a farmer over here and invade through this square. A move with marginal value. Bluste gets a scoring tile, but not an obvious decision. He could just go for 3 points here. He could go here for a block. Or he could try and set up this here idea and try get himself the 2 curves. It's not crazy at this stage of the game, because he really needs to find a way to win the field. Equalization seems like it's not going to be enough. He's down on the scoreboard, and his juicy ruins for a lot of juicy points simply just not going to give him enough juice. But maybe there's a way to win if we score quick points a couple times with crossroads, and then we invade the field just to equalize. This is a possibility, actually. Because we could go here for 3. We could go then here for 6. 5-point road plus 1 point for the city if we get one of these roses, of which there's only 1 remaining. Which is why I would have considered this here move, by the way, just to not to allow anything special there. Yeah, tough decision here for Zvonimir. Let's see what he comes up with. Well, Bluste goes for the Desperation Farmer way too early, and he's going to get blocked very quickly. Or at least restricted, because there's still daggers remaining. Yeah, I think... I don't know. It doesn't seem right to me at all. Like, it's just too early. It's just too early. Empty also with a scoring tile, can pick up some points. He could even go for the farmer directly, but the points are even more unpleasant to deal with. Bluste does connect to the field, but so does MTU. The field will now be equal. The pole is ahead, 16 points. Bluste has a 6-point field on the left and some nice ruins, but it's just not enough. Green has roads. And I was going to say that there was still, I think, this idea perhaps of getting a crossroads and going all the way around, but it's just a bit too long, and there might not even be tiles for this. Empty now even takes more points. He's going to take himself a different field. Bluste with a curve. Probably could take out that field, actually. Yeah, the most precise move in this position might be going here and adding a point to your opponent just to not allow this farm to be scored. And this is not what happens. By the way, actually, interestingly, if Bluste had gone for this here idea, it would have worked. Very interestingly. He did have enough tiles. He did have 2 curvy tiles to do this, to loop all the way around, and MTU didn't get any crossroads. Now, this doesn't mean that this was correct, but it was an idea. And at least with this move, he shows that he saw that idea. He was considering that idea. GGS is saying Bluste, MTU with a comeback win. Certainly a very interesting game, very open, lots of decisions to be made, lots of spatial visions required, lots of faith needed to be had in some moves. The farm has been equalized, 16-point win for MTU. Very high scoring game. Both players exchange pleasantries. And they were difficult games indeed for both players, but I somehow feel that the Polish master just had more control of what's going on. So Bluste really didn't blunder at any time, if I remember correctly. But like today, I think we saw the difference between a good player, like a really good player, and a top player. Because all of Bluste's move makes sense, and good players make reasonable moves. But top players just, among the reasonable moves, just manage to find the one which genuinely gives them the highest winning chance. And I felt that in all 3 games. Especially even the first game, to some extent, despite the fact that it went to Bluste. Here, I don't think, again, like, the Croatian didn't make any blunders. But one decision which I think might have been impactful, was the decision with this year's city cap. So look, both opponents went for identical tiles, and Bluste chose to play it safe and start a new city over here for potential 4 points. Green went for the jackpot. Green went for the 8-point city with the same tile, recognizing that this here square is not easily blocked, and ended up having the advantage from this here tile. Now, the difference between 4 and 8 points might be not that great, but it's not just the points. It's the number of points in this here area changes the win conditions, because if Bluste were to be a little bit closer on the scoreboard, then there were some ideas how he could win this game without having to get a 5th farmer in the field, because you see he got the 4th one, he was kind of far enough. A couple of quick points here and there, and then maybe yellow is right back in it. So just like that small situation, and I wanted to point that out because both players drew an identical tile pretty much back to back, and got wildly different results from these two areas. Anyway, a very high level match today, very entertaining. High mtu, congratulations on the win. All right, now I need to get myself a breather. But let's just have a look at the fate of both of these here players first. So Mateusz gonna go straight to the main stage of the Carcassonne Champions League, having won this qualification tournament. Bluste is not eliminated, he just goes down low to the consolation finals, where he's going to await his opponent for a couple of weeks. And he really has 4 tough choices, most notably of them the Japanese master with his queen named Kithra, another player to have crossed the 800 threshold, and then 2 high experts. Prix actually might even be a master, I don't remember. And of course, one of the fastest masters in the world, the precise Eugene Lepeha of Ukraine with his queen named Smile Hyphen. Yeah, so whoever of these here guys wins will not make it easy for Zvonimir, but still a good chance to qualify nonetheless. So this is what happens in this qualification cycle. Let's just have a look at the other matches that we're having. They're not many. Today's, in fact, for some reason, despite it being a Sunday, this is the only match that has been scheduled. There are going to be more things going on next week. So on Saturday, I believe, yes, that's the 20th of December, we're going to see the final of the lower brackets of the 4th International Qualification Tournament for the highest rated players in the world. Devdin of Catalonia versus Penguinium of Taiwan should be a most spectacular match. And other than that, I don't really know. I will be trying to work on some uploads, but probably more streams are going to come up. And yeah, the best way for you to keep up with these broadcasts, as they will be scheduled at a short notice, because the matches are scheduled at a short notice, is to subscribe to this channel for more competitive Carcassonne content like this and click the bell notification icon. And of course, make sure to meeple the like button as well, as it helps with the algorithm. That's it for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'ma see you soon.